We're crawling into a deep, dark cavern, and the only tool that we have by our side is a 20-sided die. It's time for another print and play edition of Little Big Thumbs. Welcome to Little Big Thumbs, a channel that's all about finding great games that are equally fun for little players and big players. My name is JP, and I'm relatively new to the world of print and play gaming, but once you peer into this little corner of our hobby, you will be amazed. Now, when I first thought about print and play gaming, I imagined doing lots of cutting and crafting, building boxes, and lots more. In the season of life that I'm in right now, I just don't have a lot of time to build my own board games. But there is this whole movement of print and play games that can be printed on single pages. Previously, we covered a fun game called Beards and Booty, which requires just one page per character in the game. And today we're looking at another single page game called Cavern. In this game, we're finding our way through 5 scenarios, 5 dungeon-like caverns, in which we have the goal of finding our way to escape each level of the cavern and defeating some baddies along the way. Everything in this game is decided with the roll of a 20-sided die. The game includes several single-page cavern levels as well as a rulebook, and we just need to provide the dice to play with. In my case, I'm not even printing out sheets of the game to play. I'm just loading them onto my tablet and then drawing right on there. We have a starting point in each cavern that's marked with an X, and to move around that cavern, we need to roll our 20-sided die. If we roll 10 or less, we can move orthogonally either 2 or 3 spaces, and if we roll higher than 10, we can choose to also move diagonally. There's some terrain that requires 2 or more spaces to move onto, and other spots that provide bonuses like tools or treasures or even weapons. The white spaces on each cavern are the easiest to move through, but if we end our movement on a white space, there's a risk of injury. This is called a trap check, and in these cases we roll our 20-sided die, and on a result of 4 or lower, we're going to scratch off one of the traps on our sheet. If all 3 traps are scratched off, it's game over, and we have failed that cavern. We also have these spaces called events, and these are important because here you'll either find the exit to that cavern, a random treasure or two, or maybe that level's boss monster looking for a fight. Most maps have 3 of these spaces, and if you want to maximize your score, you will want to visit all 3. There are also minor enemies scattered throughout each level. Ending a movement adjacent to one of those forces an alert check to see if that enemy notices us sneaking by. Rolling 7 or less on our alert check means that we were too loud, and we're going to have to face off against that baddie. Each enemy or boss fight is resolved with a single roll of that D20, with minor enemies requiring a 12 or higher to overcome, the standard level bosses needing at least a 14 to overcome, and the final boss at the end of the 5th level requiring 16 or higher. We can spend swords to boost our roll here by 5 per sword. There are other tools that can help us along the way, and a very simple leveling system that will allow us rerolls on future caverns. Each level can be played on its own as a single mission or played consecutively as sort of a campaign with a way to calculate an overall score to compare against either a success chart or the performance of the other players. Now, there's no physical interaction as part of this game, so it's possible to play Cavern at a distance online with friends and family. But personally, I find this game to shine as a solo experience, with the exception of when I'm playing with my kids. But I am getting ahead of myself here, so why don't we throw up a transition and then we'll come back with some reviewy sort of thoughts, both from the perspective as an adult player and when we're playing with children. Alright, so we've got 3 questions to answer before we wrap up this video today. The first, where is the value in this package? And the second, is it accessible for kids? And the third, what would I do differently if this were my campaign? Right now, it's my opinion that you just can't go wrong with these print and play crowdfunded games. They're usually in the $5 to $10 range, involve no shipping, and very little wait to have that game in your hands and ready to play. The entire movement feels like what crowdfunding platforms were originally intended to be, supporting independent creators and bringing their ideas to life that otherwise just might not exist. Unlike big budget board games that rely on oodles of plastic miniatures and so many things that couldn't go wrong in the development, production, and fulfillment processes, there's almost no gamble with a game that costs just a few dollars. Even if that game is terrible, you were likely part of a community that provided valuable feedback to a creator and helped them to improve a craft, something that they're genuinely passionate about. All for the price of a coffee at a fancy cafe. Now, when it comes to Cavern specifically, you're likely paying $1 for each of the core maps included. The value comes in whether you're going to be playing these maps in both solo and multiplayer situations, and in all likelihood, you're probably going to be playing each map maybe 2 or 3 times. As for playing with children, I do think that this system is simple enough for most kids to be playing along. It's got some minor role-playing elements of building up your character and their equipment, and that system of leveling up to take on the big boss at the end. For my younger daughter, who is 6 years old at the time of this recording, Cavern is not going to hold her attention. But she did love watching her older sister play through the game. But they did have one criticism to share, and it's that there isn't room on the sheet to draw their character and the various boss monsters they encounter along the way. But seriously, for kids, I think that this works well as a solo puzzle or as a cooperative adventure where we're working together to solve a single map. I'm all about layering gameplay elements to build up kids to truly enjoy the game, and I think there's the opportunity here for doing just that, whether it be by using the included easy mode of ignoring alert checks, or starting the game with a sword or two to make those enemy battles a bit easier. And finally, what I'd like to see done differently with these sorts of campaigns. I think that there's the opportunity in these print and play campaigns to really take advantage of those $1 backers and offer some sort of a demo pledge. Something to allow someone to try just a sampling of the full package. I have to imagine that this would broaden the overall audience of the game, and if the game holds up, those $1 backers are probably coming back for more, whether it be through the campaign itself or afterwards through that creator's website. And I suppose this isn't feedback for this campaign specifically, but I think that there's a unique opportunity here for this print and play community to really capitalize on the crowdfunding platform in the way that traditional publishers have not been able to do. But the bottom line here is that I adore these single-page print and play games. There's so much value to be had, whether I'm just buying one for myself or whether I'm getting a couple of these pledges to share with my friends and family, sending as gifts where I don't have to ship a physical product. Cavern is a great quick puzzle that's easy to jump into, offers some moments of light tension, and opportunities for explosive, dice-driven surprises along the way. It's a system that could easily be expanded upon, and I can't wait to see how this system evolves in the weeks and months to come. If you're curious to learn more about the various print and play communities and resources out there, I'll make sure to leave links in the description of this video along to any information that you might want to find about Cavern. Thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time, whether you've got little players or big players, make sure that you keep playing games that make your thumbs go way up. Bye for now.